We were born in motion. After 9 months unfurling to our mother's heartbeat, cells multiplied into systems, building bones and brains and blood, pulses synced, composing spines, formulating feet. Then something happened. As we learned to balance on our own 2 feet, we learned there was a right way and a wrong way to move them. We learned there were rules to being human. We learned to speak when it was our turn, walk in single file lines, squeeze our wild into business suits and pretend that we feel fine. We stopped listening to the humming of our veins, signed off from the senses that shake us awake, and we chose screens over flesh, minds swept up in a fury of distraction. We forgot that every time we breathe, I inhale part of you and exhale part of me. We forgot that we all share the same pulse. We forgot there is another way, and that we've known it since that tiny cluster of cells turned into the first kick in our mother's womb. See, we've got a direct line of communication to the rhythm living in the space beneath our minds, the one that beats our hearts in time. Part of us has always known how to dance. And when we do, we remember that the user's manual we picked up on the way to this planet is in our guts. Rhythm will rewire our lives if we let it. If we return to the dance floor, rediscover the beat that goes straight to our bones, stomp our feet until sweat falls in our eyes and we're moving too quick for society's grip to hold us back. What if we could rise up from where we're rooted, meet each other like a long-lost harmony, dance as if we shared the same 5 senses, as if our feet were planted on the same small planet, our veins running the same red blood. We'd forget why we ever stopped listening. We'd forget why we fought ourselves in the first place. We'd forget why we fight each other. We'd forget all the made-up lessons we learned along the way because we didn't have to go to school for this. This is who we are. This is what we're made of. This is why we came here. We came to dance.
Woo, baby.
Hey, what's up?
We were made to dance. Made to
I
dance.
love that. That was a good song. I love it. I like this intro you have. It's very
Rocking on. So, welcome to Spark the GVibe Sunday. That's your gratitude vibration for all y'all newbies. I am DebbieG, and with me I have the fabulous, the wonderful, the incredible, one of my favorite people in this whole stinking world, Francisco Javier. Hello,
Hey guys,
darling.
how are you? How are you, Debbie? I'm so excited we're doing this. I've been seeing you for months, and I think it was a year ago we did this, right? We did it a year ago when I was in.
Informations and all of that good stuff. Let's just give everybody, look, I know what you do, and I know a lot of people popping on. There's number 33. Ooh, angels in the house.
I
So
love it.
a lot of people know what you do. I know what you do. Let's talk a little bit of who you are, my dear
Yeah.
Prince.
Yeah, so basically, I started my journey in 2018, and like any person that goes through these changes of consciousness, they reach a hard, like a rock bottom, and you could say that that was kind of like my karma balancing. And 2018, I had an enlightenment by light being Michael the Archangel, and since then I started really kind of focusing on this mission. I mean, he told me the reason why I suffer was because I was a template and my soul was, the presentation for me to experience that which humans experience in order for me to discern what resonates for me and resonates for, for the highest good of humanity as a collective consciousness, right? And so I started this mission back in 2018. I was homeless. I was a drug addict with HIV, and I still have that, but I'm healing that, right? And at the end of the day, that's how this began, right? It's just like it just took me to go homeless and to lose everything in my life in order for me to realize what is really going on. But I never knew what was going on. I never believed in God. I never believed in angels. I never believed in any of this stuff. I was a registered Republican. I'm like, leave me alone. Prove it, prove it. So if you're out there really not believing this, trust me, I was just like you, and it's real. It's real.
It's real. Hey, this is real.
Right.
Wow. Well, first, I'd like to just say thank you for your honesty. your vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I love about you, Francisco, more than anything in this world, you're one of the people online that if I
Mm-hmm.
catch you, you're speaking truth. It's your truth.
Mm-hmm.
It normally resonates within my truth. So, I mean, quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly, sorry, I had a dog fuzzy on my face. I mean, like, that's what I love about you the most because you balls to the wall. You leave nothing unturned. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the things that you say, you get a lot of flack for because not everybody is quite there yet. They're not in their awakening quite yet of the space where
Mm-hmm.
they can really soak in what you're saying. So
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact though that that doesn't stop you because you are unstoppable. You still keep
Right.
going. You still persevere. So what I heard you say is that with
Or the planet have. We have a shadow. Everything has a shadow. And the issue and the challenge we have in this planet right now is that people have guilt for seeing their shadow rather than gratitude and innocence, right? And when
yeah,
I say the lamb is calling, the lamb is calling, innocence is calling, innocence is calling. And if we can't sit in innocence, we sit in guilt and shame. But it's okay to have a dirty sock because I do too. So pointing out my dirty laundry doesn't extend from you looking at your own dirty laundry. And I think the issue we're having here is that if you haven't made peace with your shadow, you will not like my shadow and you will not like anybody else's shadow. And until then, you will not experience peace within and forget without. I mean, the law of correspondence, right?
straight up on point. Let's take a look at this. Hello to everybody that is showing up right now. Let's please just share this out. Look at this. Francisco, not for the faint of heart. Much truth from this big heart. I agree, you guys. You definitely have a gigantic, yummy heart. What I love is how that you're so real about the fact that in order, because I don't believe that addiction is the issue. I think that it's simply the how that we cope sometimes. And
Right.
speaking from experience, I mean, the escape factor when shit gets too hard has just been the way it is. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just don't want to be there anymore. Sometimes you just don't want to feel that anymore. And that is what happens. But what also happens is when we come out of it, and tell me if this is true for you, you have a
Mm-hmm.
sense of self that is so much stronger than it ever was because your perseverance to just be still in this on this earth. I mean, how many times have you wanted to check out? And you're still
Right.
here, you're still breathing. So to be so real about it, this is why I love you because I can resonate with what you say. There's a whole lot of people out there who are hurting themselves, and it's needs. But let's talk about your experience. You came out of it. You have come out of it. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it doesn't mean shit can't happen again, though.
Right, right. And it's like, we go back and it's like I'm the kind of guy that kind of goes along and I fill the holes as I go. I can't really sit in a room for 2 years locked away and then heal because but that works for some people, but that doesn't work for me because I'm a doer and I like to experience. I don't know what you mean until I go and do it. So anything else is just kind of an illusion until I experience it, right? So yeah, I've relapsed since I've been here in Sedona, but it had to happen. I mean, did I intentionally want to use? Yes and no. Intentionally because I wanted to, and unintentionally because I don't mean to drink bleach before I go to bed at night, right? Nobody really wants to hurt themselves intentionally, but
That's
intentionally
right.
also. And this is the shadow aspect, the guilt and the shame. My issue is that I had an attachment to sex. And therefore, once I realized that it's just sex, Francisco, just relax, then that disappears because that drug is all sex driven, right? I mean,
Yeah.
methamphetamines really kind of make you go out to town for like 3 weeks. And if you're using, I don't judge because Michael told me, he's like, don't ever judge anyone doing that because you don't know what's going on in their lives. And this is so true, right? We in the spiritual world, you say the word meth, heroin, and everybody disappears when in fact, these are the people that this is spiritual also. Everything is spiritual, everything is energy, and integrating these folks is necessary. I do agree with you. This has nothing to do with addiction. We keep talking about people having chemical imbalances. Well, of course, there's a chemical imbalance because we created those imbalances with our habits in our mind, in our brain. So blaming it on the chemical imbalance is like saying the alcoholic is an alcoholic and I'm just going to keep drinking. Well, we need to change the pathways, the neural pathways of the brain, in order for us to really create new balances, new chemical balances, right?
Yes,
So,
yes, indeed, man.
so
Rock
you
on.
know what I mean?
Oh, fuck yeah. Woohoo!
There we
That
go.
is straight up in a nutshell.
Hmm.
You guys, I hope you just heard that. If you are sitting in that space right now, you are not
Hmm.
judged. We do not
Yeah,
shame
no,
you. As a matter
no.
of fact, I'm going to tell you, there's no way. My son, Christopher, I don't know if you know
Mhm.
this, but in July, like he came online with TJ Woodward and Scott Thomas because he was coming off heroin. You know,
Right.
here's the cool thing I realized is that like I got to experience all of that from the observer space and from the mom space and from
Right.
that kind of space because I had to learn to allow him to have my kids to have their own dark to allow
Mhm.
I had to detach from the outcome of what I think that their life needs to look like, and I
Right.
had to totally just realize that my job is to love them unconditionally. What does that mean? That means not judging a damn thing they do, and that is
Mhm.
not is. I realize it comes out of my mouth really simply, but that does not mean it is the truest thing I've ever done. I focus on what is
Mhm.
good. I focus on them as children. When I see people that are struggling right now,
Mhm.
I look at them and I remember they were a baby. They
Mhm.
were a baby. They deserve to be
Mhm.
loved. You said the
Mhm.
lamb, the innocence is coming back. And
Mhm.
within that, that is how that we love each other in the space of the
Mhm.
innocence. So
Mhm.
if you are that person who's using to escape, I love you and I love the baby and
Right.
the innocence in you.
Mhm.
And if
And it's
you're a
innocent.
person,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I love you. Okay, so let's get down. Let's just do a little flip a switch, eh? I want to
Yeah.
talk about look it. What an opportunity are we living in with this pandemic? Is this not the best ass shit on the
I
planet
love
or
it.
what, man?
Yeah, yeah. And I've been talking about this. I'm like, I'm loving this energy right now. It's like we need this stay home orders. I think it's just bringing people back to true self. Now we're gonna see why you really got married, and if that was really what you wanted, because now you're stuck at home with the husband with the 3 kids at home, right? So it's like, are we ready to face the reality? Because now my kids are driving me crazy. Well, I'm sorry. Let's have a look at that trigger, right? Let's have a look at these triggers, right?
Right? Yeah.
Mommy wants daddy. Mommy wants to have sex with daddy, but daddy wants to have sex with mommy because daddy was having an affair with the wife with another chick outside the streets, right? So now we're gonna really see all of this true coming out. We're gonna see a lot of the shadows being brought to the light because the why people do things, it's not why they don't. People don't know why they know, and people don't know why they don't know why. So it resonates, but you don't know why it doesn't resonate, and you don't know why it doesn't resonate. But until we go into that space of why awareness, then you realize, okay, I did this because this and that, right? So at this time, this pandemic that's going on right now, I feel like this is a frequency. I call this the crown chakra activation of the Christ consciousness, right? And it's picking those that do not vibrate at the 144,000 gigahertz. And those folks are being purged because they don't serve the highest trajectory timeline of Gaia. Fear timelines, blame shifting timelines are out, and 0 point template is in, right? So people might say that's so cruel for you to say. Well, it's not my fault that this broke out. It's my fault also, right? I love the totality because it contradicts itself. So yeah, everything is correct and not true at the same time, right? So I think that this is a wonderful opportunity for us to really kind of ask ourselves, who am I? And if you're bored at home, if you're bored at home, this tells me that you are not okay doing nothing. It's like, what makes the cat tick? Well, he's just being. Well, can we just be? No. Why? Because you need a reason to be. You need a condition to be happy. And this is where we go out and attach ourselves to material possessions of security, family, and friends for our happiness. And that's called an attachment, a reason to love. You don't need a reason to be happy. Just be. It's unconditional. Be unconditional joy, right?
Ah, yes.
I love
Yes.
it.
And allowing people to just gosh, everyone it's my particular belief
Mm-hmm.
that there are as many belief systems as there are people,
Well, yeah.
as there are humans.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that if you take the word belief and system and you put them vertically,
Mm-hmm.
wait, vertically is up and down, horizontal, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, BS is what you get at the top. What is
Be.
it?
Right. Be. And then
BS.
live. Right. Bell. Oh my
BS.
God. I never realized
Yeah,
that. Be
bullshit.
live. Oh my
No
I love it.
bullshit.
Oh my God. That's
Be
so be
but
live.
dude,
Believe.
watch.
Yeah.
Belief, be lie, be lie, right? In the middle,
Uh,
LIE. Think about it.
oh
But
my
if you really look at
God.
belief system vertically, it B
Mm-hmm.
and BS is the first one. That's bullshit because that is the one thing that shifts and changes all of the time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
The belief
because
systems. Right.
No, it's just crazy. That is the one thing, like, we
Mhm.
can shift. I could go to bed
Mhm.
tonight feeling one way about one thing and wake up tomorrow and then have, like, that go like this, and, like, all of a sudden it changes for me. But here's the beauty, we're human beings and we get that free will of
Mhm.
choice, the free
Mhm.
will of
Mhm.
being flexible and shifting and changing. Change is we're all experiencing a pandemic, a change across the entire world. How are you
Mhm.
choosing to look at this opportunity? And I say opportunity
Mhm.
because this is the time for you to do the very thing that you've been putting off doing for how long?
Yep.
And the
Yep.
world's starting to come back, like in all of this, but are we going to come back unchanged and unscathed? Or are we going to come
Mhm.
back going, wow, I was grateful for toilet
Mhm.
paper. I'll never do that shit again.
Right, shit again. I love it. Right, right. It's like, hey, this is the moment been waiting all your life. You've been home. You've been complaining you're working too much. Now you're not working enough. So we got to make up our minds here, honey bunny. Right? We either or, because I'm working too much now. I'm bored. Okay, okay. Stop victim mentality at every level. Poor you, you're bored. Poor you, you're working too much. So what is it here? When does it end? Why? I don't know. It depends. It's fake. That's not me. I'm just kidding. So these are such excuses we like to use, right? And it's like, well, you know why, right? But let's take the opportunity, right, to have creator consciousness space. You're home, but the kids are driving you crazy. So it's a total readjustments of your matrices. So you need to find time for mommy. Moms, you need to chill out. You need to take time for you. I understand we're caring about our kids. Worrying about my kids is me projecting all my negative thoughts into their auric fear of manifesting their timeline. So worrying is like praying negative. This is what worrying is. Oh my God, please, I hope she gets pregnant. No, I don't want her to get pregnant, right? And it's like, who cares if she gets pregnant? It's not up for you to discern what she does with herself. Just because your mom and dad did that to you doesn't mean you have to do it to the other generation unless you want to keep the karma wheel going. Well, until then, I'll see you there. But so far, it's just going to be more of that. So everyone needs to be, who am I without a job, family, friends, material possession, security, and my family? Who am I without my family? Because you were someone before you had your kids. That's the fractal retrieval that you need to the present moment. Moms out there are like with prehistoric feet and loose hair. I get it, right? Because they're worrying about their kids, but let's care about me too, right? We need boundaries. Boundaries are my truth. Boundaries, my truth. And boundaries will repent and attract new experiences. But we feel guilty for saying no because we feel bad. But this is guilt and shame. This should be gratitude and innocent in your endeavor of taking care of yourself, right?
Whew, baby. That's just absolutely brilliant. I'll tell you, you brought up a lot of good points. And
Mm-hmm,
this is one of the reasons I love Scott Thomas and Love Coach Academy, because he
mm-hmm,
teaches these foundational things so you can practice it all the time. You're
mm-hmm,
constantly setting boundaries, you're constantly practicing different ways of communicating. But one of the
mm-hmm.
key factors you just brought up here is the way that you're communicating to yourself and how you're talking
Right.
to yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
I also, your kids are driving you nuts because you said, slow down, chill out, mom, and
Right.
be mom. Just be mom. Not this, I got to do this and I got to do that. And well, I'm on the phone right now. Would you just stop? Please don't right now. And what are you
Right.
telling that child when
Right. Right.
you're up? No, what you're saying is, I don't
Right.
have time for you and you're not important. And this is where it all begins.
Right. And you have no
Yeah.
time because you're not important, because you have no time for you. So you're out of balance. That's why you don't have time for your kids, because you're out of balance yourself. So your kids are driving you
Yeah.
crazy because you're allowing that. Having bound, like me and my kids, if my kid can put deodorant on and like put a shoe and turn the light on and off, I think this kid is automatic. And now I think this kid could be my friend. Yes, I'm your father, but I'm also your teacher. I'm not treating my kids like a victim, but we do that. We treat them like victims. Oh, poor. No, why poor? That's you. What you say is a reflection of who you are. So if you pour them, you pity yourself, and that's very disempowering,
Mm.
right?
I'm loving this. Okay, so let's take a look over here at I love you. I swear to God,
I
you're
like
just
to.
so absolutely straight up. This is
Yeah.
how it is. And what I love is that, I mean, you're you're my son's age.
Hmm.
That's what's so awesome about it. And I'm loving that this new generation is so on point. And I can just imagine what this world is going to be like. Um,
Hmm.
you know, 20 years from now with all of these great new tools and belief systems and whatnot that are being integrated right now. So let's take a look at something. And Elizabeth, I do see your question on my phone, but and I'll address it here in a minute. But what do you think about this? We are all wired for struggle. Let's take a look at that statement.
Okay, we're all wired for struggle. So, right, because I mean, we're wired for struggle because we made a contract to struggle with the wire, right? And therefore, once I figure out how to deal with the wire, I'm able to cope with it, and then I'm able to not be a victim because I signed up for this. I feel like, if we start complaining about our lives, well, we made this soul contract, so we just gotta deal with them, right? And I understand maybe that's not empathic, but maybe it's empathic too, because we're just saying here, if we can just deal with it and show up, right? Empathy for me is like, yes, I've been there, but I don't feel bad for you. I really don't. I'm not going to pity you. Why should I pity you? You signed up for this. Why should I? Why am I going to pity you for you having a life? That's self-pity, actually. So I'll empower you and I'll say, hey, you know what? Let's talk about. But if you need help with something, maybe my perspective will help, right? But we are wired to struggle because we came here with a contract in order for us to dissolve, integrate, neutralize an aspect from a past life, and and this is all karmic at a planetary level also. So these are soul contracts, right?
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. So this is coming
Yeah.
up. So this is ancestral, and I love that too because that's a lot of what that we do here. We look at, and the most important part about that is that putting our fractal selves back together again. And that's what this process is about. For in my world, anyway, it's about reclaiming our power that I've given away. I just watched this incredible teaching that just blew my mind at those times in our life when we've had like the relationship that didn't work out and maybe a piece of us is still there, or maybe somebody's died and left this planet and a piece of us was still there, an unresolved aspect to now reconcile. And this is what this opportunity is about, this reconciliation of ourself, our soul, through our heart conscious space. I do agree with you. I do believe that we are going through an opening of our crown chakra. I absolutely believe that, and wholeheartedly. I think that when I say opportunity, and I know a lot of people are like, "What do you mean?" Because you've been so busy looking at the fact, that bills can't get paid, and this and that. I know that's all real for you, and people have died, and I know that that's real. This isn't a Pollyanna approach. This is an approach to look at life from an aspect of how it is serving you rather than the victim. And here we go, because we're going to talk about the victim. The victim mentality perception. I'm just curious. Anybody out there in a victim mentality? Is it working for you? If it is working for you, I'm glad. Stay there. You're all good. You don't need to leave. But it's possible.
Right.
There might be another
Yeah.
way to do this.
Right. And the thing about the victim mentality is that they don't know that they're a victim. I mean, I'm being a victim in some way in my own life right now without me being aware that I'm being a victim. So you see, we are intentionally and unintentionally being victims because we don't mean to be a victim. Like, I don't mean to be inauthentic with myself, but because there's an aspect of my being that is unaware, and the trigger has to happen in order for me to see the opposite, which is the feeling that I have to deal with. Therefore, then I will say intentionally, I was being a victim, and unintentionally also. So the important thing here to remember is that if you can own the aspect, it's going to own you. And you could call that your shadow, you could call that your yang or your demons. Until you don't make peace with your shadow, it will make peace with you, right?
Well, it's going to take a piece. Well, it's going to feel like it's taken a piece of you.
Right, right,
So I'm
right.
curious, like the moon. Let's look
Yeah.
at the moon. Imagine we were the moon,
Mm-hmm.
and we're observing the moon, and it's full, and it's bright, and it's beautiful. But then the shadow comes, and it's a half a moon. Do I
Mm-hmm.
look at that moon now and say, "You're just a half a moon. You're a piece of shit. I don't even want to look at you right now." Yeah.
Right,
Or
right.
do we embrace the shadow and love the shadow and
We,
realize that the moon hasn't changed whatsoever, just our perception and how we perceive
mm-hmm.
has changed. And the shadow is how do you perceive the shadow? We look at the moon and we see the shadow. We don't judge the shadow. We love the shadow because the shadow gives us a new perspective to see.
Right. The shadow makes the moon crab crescent or crescent, right? It makes the whole thing kind of happen. Otherwise, it just looks like a pie in the sky. Right? We would never know what a moon looks like if we didn't have a shadow. So thank you, shadow, for make peace with the devil, but don't sweep it under the rug, right? And that's the thing.
Right.
But people think that it's guilty. It's like you're an attention person. No, I'm not. Yes, you are, but it's okay to be attention whore. No, that's fake. Oh, please. Okay, we'll try again tomorrow. Bye. Right.
Can I? All right. Well, anybody out there want to own the attention ho?
Just it's okay, and it's okay to do that. Just bring it to the light. Otherwise, you're seeking attention for the wrong reasons, based on guilt and shame, and therefore that's when we're feeling voids instead, because we have abandonment child issues, right? So why we do things, we don't know why we do, and we don't know why we don't know why. But you will know why. But we just have to go through the experience, and also honoring the shadow. Yin and yang are not harmonics. Yang, everyone just wants to experience yin without yang. Well, that's not really working. That's just negating the shadow. And as the collective consciousness right now, humanity is denying a lot of dirty laundry and turning the cheek away. Well, newsflash, turning your cheek doesn't make the dirty laundry clean. So you taking care of the shadow, taking care of the laundry will clean it. But ignoring it is just based on guilt and shame. And the Lamb is calling, innocence has called.
Wow, that's really beautiful. And so I don't know who this is, but I love that you're writing that you are. They love that you're curious.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And hi, Debs, and hi, everybody. Some of you,
Hi, Deb.
Facebook user. So I don't see your name. Look at this one. This one's cool. I've been dancing naked at home.
I love it. Good for you.
Stretching, dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. This is brilliant. This is awesome.
Kids are where our kids are wired for struggle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, they are wired for struggle, but one thing we need to see, is that, well, that's like me saying I bought food and I gained weight. Well, it's my responsibility to see how much food I put in my mouth. Like, it's my responsibility also to respond and react. It's two different things. Responding is choosing how you're going to react. And if I'm going to react like, Chihuahua barking at the door, then it's emotionally driven rather than responding. It's more logical. And logos is logic. We want logic. Logos, the planetary logos of Kumara and the Ascended Master teaches us that the logos is the consciousness of God, or the God thinking way for the whole entire universe. So if we think logic, that's the mind, and emotion is the heart, well, are we checking in with the mind and then the heart, or the heart and then the mind? Because then this is ego sometimes, and because of annual fractals, the trigger is negatively polarized, and therefore we're projecting guilt and shame. So it's not my guilt, that's your guilt. I'm not guilty. I make you feel guilty because I am not guilty, and you're looking at a version of yourself outside of yourself feeling guilty because of what I'm doing, but maybe what I'm doing doesn't feel guilty for me. So that is a trigger for you, and that's not my aspect, that's yours. So I'm not going to explain to you why I'm not guilty, or maybe I will. We'll see. Right?
Well, actually, you really don't have to do. Actually, to explain yourself, is it required? Well, it depends. Well, it's okay, because there we're getting into the codependent factor here. Like, codependent factor is part of the victim factor.
Right.
No, in my world anyway.
So
Codependent equates to victim.
Right. So if I'm explaining myself, it's because I don't know who I am, and therefore I need you to see me how I see myself, so that I can get validation for what I'm doing is correct. But see, that's why people explain themselves, and people pleasing, of course, right? Because it's a victim mentality. And this is a lot with the victim savior template, save me, or this is like the light workers waiting for Jesus to fly on a pink cloud, or command the Ossa to land in the Antarctic. Well, newsflash, we're not there yet. We've done that in Atlantis. We landed ships. The whole thing went to hell. Right now, we descended. We incarnated to assist. So if we're waiting for someone to save me, and if you hate this place, that's a trigger. That's why you came. And then we're running away from our very, very same purpose, which is transmuting negative energy. Of course it's negative, but that's not newsflash. Well, of course it's negative, right? So we have to integrate it rather than run away. Again, we're sweeping yin under the rug. We don't want to deal with it. And this is our soul contract. I understand and I don't understand also, right? Both. It has to be both, right?
Well, it has to be both because you can't. It's just how it is.
Right.
And and you hear a lot of people that are off going, we're we're going to be in the 5D. We're not going to have. No, we're here on Earth. We're supposed to
Yeah.
have. We're supposed to have
Right.
polarity. We're here for
Right.
this.
Right.
The 5D is all there for y'all. When I truly believe when we're not on the Earth,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be instead, sitting on the beach, sipping whatever you want to sip off in heavenly heaven, call
Yeah.
it, whatever dimension you want to be in, and y'all going to get bored, and you're going to say,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I should go back and do it again. And I know you guys are sitting there going, I'm not going to ever come back, and I'm never going to do this again. Well, you don't really know squat. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't think I know squat because Francisco, look, I haven't croaked yet. I'm kind
Right.
of guessing. I'm guessing at that. So if I don't know what's going to happen when I'm going to die,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it safe to consider I should just focus on the polarity and the beauty that is right here in front of us to embrace and use it to empower versus use it to disempower? We've disempowered, disembodied, and we have chopped ourselves up like damn cannibals. I mean, we could have all been freaking Hector. What was his name?
Right.
Lecter Cannibal. Wait, what was that
Oh,
movie?
like the
I-
cannibal collector, the
yeah,
cannibal collector or something, the bone collector,
Hannibal
something.
Hannibal Lecter. We could have all been
Right.
the Hannibal Lecter. Silence of the Lambs,
The Silence of the Lamb. Yeah.
Dis
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
disempowering, dismembering
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, because that is what it feels like when you're disempowered. You're dismembered. You're like completely separate
Mm-hmm.
from yourself, and then you get into that fear factor. And fear is an illusion of this
Mm-hmm.
belief that you're telling yourself. So, what I encourage is this: is it true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you're thinking right now,
Right.
is that really true for you? Not for
Mm-hmm.
me, not for
Mm-hmm.
Francisco, but for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really true? You're the only one that needs to make up that to make your mind up about that. Is this true? Does it
Right.
resonate in my heart first?
Right.
So
Right. In the heart
yeah,
first. That's a great
yeah.
point. So right, we gotta really kind of check in with our heart, absolutely. And what is truth? I can look at this crystal, I can look at it, and you can look at it too, and we could all agree it's a crystal. But what you see in the crystal will be different than what I see. Same thing with politicians. Very good example. We can all look at a president, but what we see in him will be very, very different. Clearly, right? So perspective is what I see, not what I look, but also what I look in a way, because what I look is discerns what I see. And
Mhm.
if I see, perspective at the end for me is your experiencing experiences based on experiences. So experiences based on experiencing experiences. So it's like my soul is an engine. So I drove 3,000 miles, 300,000 miles from the north. You drove 150,000 from the south, whatever. So people have been driving longer than others, and anything me trying to make you see what I see is like me putting a 1998 Toyota whatever engine on a 2014 BMW. It's just not going to work. It's not compatible, but it's not different. It's the same. It's just another car, right? So
Mhm.
this is our perspective. So I believe everyone is correct. There is no wrong. Their perspective is correct. And if I can't handle that, it's because I cannot believe what they're believing. And therefore then I have to believe that what they believe is true for me to go to sleep at night. And you don't have to do that because that's what they see. And oh well, allow. This is the primordial issue of planet Earth, is that we're having all of these perspective issues that my God is right and yours is wrong. Yes
Mhm.
and no, both. Yes to you, but that doesn't necessarily mean what you're saying is correct, for example. But it's also not true because you are in distortion based on the belief system, like we just talked about. And therefore, that is necessary for you to believe that, to realize that that's not true, right? Like the
Absolutely.
whole eating meat and you don't assent. Well, that is an illusion. It doesn't exist. Yes and no. But if you believe that, then yes, you have to not eat meat, and that's your belief, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean that six-pack Joe down the street can't have meat and go to heaven. That's not real. Because I used to preach that myself, so I've been those people. Same thing with charging with money, right? People think that, oh, shame on you. No, that's your shame if you would charge. And now you're actually limiting your probabilities, actually, and you haven't made peace with money. We have to make peace with everything here. Money, Christopher Columbus, and Adolf Hitler. And until then, we hold grudges, and this is blame shifting yet again.
I'm just like, anybody else just want to, I want to see like a boatload of hearts just come, just bring them flying. Because see, listen, if you're sitting right there right now and you're going, hallelujah, amen, somebody, can I get a hello? Ralph Smart, thank you so very much. Oh, the hearts are flying. If you're sitting there and you're going, you guys are kind of, well, I'm really happy about that because we're here to rattle cages. If your cage is being rattled, you're my favorite kind of person because I love you just the way you are. And it's being rattled because, baby, that shit needs to fall off. I hate to tell you. That's how it rolls, man. And I could be wrong and I'm good with that too. And I could be absolutely 100% wrong. And I'm really okay with that. And the whole rest of the world, you are right. All of y'all. But
Yeah,
he
and that's
believes
why.
this. Yeah, right.
That's
They're
why
right.
I just say yes, yes, you're right. Yes, I'm a crazy person. Yes, I'm totally ridiculous and absolutely crazy, and I need to go to a mental hospital and I'm on serious drugs. You're absolutely right. What am I going? And even if I say no, you're gonna say yes anyway. So save a headache. Yes, yes. Just say yes, and it goes away.
Just say yes, and it goes
Yes,
away.
yes. Right. Oh, what do you mean yes? Well, I'm not gonna argue with you. So no, sure, no. Which one is it?
But it's so freaking true, man.
So no. Also, and if I say no, it's not good enough. Okay, we'll try again tomorrow. Have a nice day.
So, what do you do with somebody with somebody else's expectation of you? That I will take responsibility when somebody else has an expectation of me that makes no sense to me. It must mean that I'm projecting that thought or I'm projecting that something out there. And if I'm seeing that, then I like to take a look at myself and see where maybe am I not making or maybe I'm making agreements that I can't keep. Saying
Right.
enough that because I heard you talk about the no. The no is just as important as your yes. And
Yeah.
how to say no authentically without feeling guilted or any of those other things. How are you doing with saying no?
Well, me saying no, and if I'm worrying about me saying no and not feeling guilty, proves the point why I need to say no, because so that I can have yes later. And if the person receiving the no gets triggered by you, then they had an expectation without them even realizing. Because again, people don't know why they know why, and people don't know why they don't know. So people don't know why really. Look, you have a lot of people trying to do piggyback sometimes, right? But they don't know that they want to do piggyback. But if you tell them they're piggybacking, they say, "Nah, that's not me." No, actually, there's no guilt and shame in you piggybacking. Just let me know. Maybe, okay, you want to work with me? Is that what you mean? Okay, yeah, we could do that. But don't come here with the guilt expectation because you don't know why you're here. So being aware and honest, why? See, we like to tell ourselves this little lie so that we could go to sleep at night. Oh, I'm going to the supermarket to see if it's open. No, you're actually going to buy wine. But that's okay if you want wine. Just don't tell yourself a little lie. I'm going to the gas station to buy cigarettes. No, actually, you're gonna go see if the cute guy is there because your marriage is falling apart. Okay, but just be honest with yourself why you're going to the supermarket rather than telling yourself a little lie, right? And if we could do that, we could all be more in harmony, and therefore, then you're being authentic. No wonder you attract inauthentic people in your world because you're being inauthentic yourself. So if you're looking around and you see having a lot of fake people, what you say is a reflection of who you are. So maybe you're fake within also. But you don't mean to be fake. It's just that nobody means to be unauthentic also, right?
Absolutely. It's just all part of the lesson. I've done all those things. I've been guilty from every aspect of that. I can own every piece of it. I'm grateful to say that today that's not necessarily something I have to deal with, but I
Right.
love this one. This one says Facebook. Princess, go look at this shit. I'm sure
I'm
you're
sure
right.
you're right. I'm sure you're right. And
I'm
I
sure
could be
you're
wrong also, both, right? Both, because maybe that perspective is on an unhealed fractal. And that's why it's important to do shadow work, because I could give people advice based on a bias point perspective. No, don't call him back. That's bad. No, he's going to cheat on you. Rather than, why are you afraid calling him? Let's talk about why you're afraid rather than me projecting my shit, right?
Straight up. Okay, that was just sweet. Absolutely
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So yeah, Facebook. I wish I knew who it was. It says Facebook user, and I will tell you, the Facebook user. I'm sure you're right too, because that's just how that
Yes,
is. You
I
know.
love it.
So
Yes.
let's talk. All right. So what has this situation with the world brought to your awareness that wasn't there before?
Mm-hmm. So my response was a lot of my, I learned about myself of how ready am I to do this. At a certain level, I feel responsible for this because I know what's going on. We know what's going on. So at some level, there's a sort of responsibility. Now, of course, I told my friends sometimes, "Oh my God, I'm sad and I'm scared," and they're like, "Don't be scared. Don't be sad." I'm like, "Yes, but it's okay to be scared and it's okay to be sad because look what's happening to the world. It has to take some sort of emotional response. The person that's in ego most likely will say, no fear, no fear. And then the spiritual bypassing begin rather than saying it's okay to be afraid, but let's trust what we don't trust because the insecurity will bring security. Now, I felt sad. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Because I knew my soul got activated when all of this started happening. And then I said, wow, this is really happening now. And now I really gotta, because I was really bitchy. I was really bitchy. Oh God, because the whole collective was bitchy. So I was bitchy extra, right? So I'm like really trying to
Oh, you were
transmute, you
bitchy
know what I
too?
mean? Extremely bitchy. I'm like, oh God, I need to
Oh,
ground.
I thought it was
So I
just
start,
me.
no, it was the collective being bitchy. So then I'm like, well, I feel bitchy within and bitchy without, right? So then, of course, I got a ground. So I started with the drumming. So what I've learned with this is self care, another level, grounding. I needed to bring my divine feminine up more in these times and turn my masculine down because I feel like people are very sensitive. So I'm showing up now, turning my divine feminine in a little more. And also for myself, stretching is something I started doing. And oh my God, it has saved my life because I can't go outside, I can't go to the gym, I can go run, but then I stretch and these pockets of muscles, these pops that I hear, that energy flows much better through the body. Eating and also really about I've learned how the collective responses to a crisis in nowadays timelines. And this gives me a template presentation for future events for me to save and anchor in my consciousness so that I'm very prepared for the next time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we do know what's going on. I said, Rosemary, worst case scenario, we'll just go outside, put a table, ascension questions. Right? Right? Just sit there and be like, do you have a question about what's happening? Right.
Oh, well, that is the truth. I mean, I'm cracking up. There's so many people who are just like, wow,
Mm-hmm,
they're blown
mm-hmm,
away. I was
mm-hmm.
talking to this one lady, and it was like, she's just embracing all of it, and I'm loving that, and it's just so cool. But you notice that when people are waking up at this point, did you see what happens? Like they're just like on fast forward.
Mm-hmm. It's like the demons are out. I say the demons are out. I mean, I got yelled at the supermarket for being too happy, but see, people don't know why they get triggered with the happiness because I'm
Oh,
safe and they're not. So then I'm an issue, and then they start. So of course, me being me with my big mouth, I just, I cussed them out a little bit at the supermarket, and I said, because me and Rosemary went to the supermarket, I understand going together, blah blah, but I'm not afraid. Now, I'm not going to go in with the ego. So I wear a mask so that I just blend in because I don't need demons that coming at me, right? So I just
uh-huh.
blended. But this guy was like bitching me out with Rosemary because we're going together. And I said, what happens to gratitude here, guys? Be grateful I'm buying food from your market. I mean, you're not the Gestapo here holding food. I understand you're in the front lines and I'm grateful for that. But this is, anyways, it's just intense, right? And it's just teaching me maybe less out there and I'm staying more home, but people are like, I can't be home alone. I'm like, but this has been always my case. I've always been home with me. I'm being, but people now are home getting bored. Well, then this tells me that there's a lot to get to know, right? Now's the time, right?
Right, absolutely. Have you seen TikTok yet?
Is that the software
No, it's
or
that
a
like
movie?
that little app, TikTok.
Oh my God, yeah, I've seen a lot of this TikTok. Yeah, I
Oh
want to
my
do
god.
it, but I don't get it. I'm like, okay,
Okay,
what?
so I'm laughing because it's like the big thing going around right now is bored in the house and I'm bored in the house and I'm bored in the house and I'm bored in the motherfucking house and I'm bored in the
Right, I
house
love it.
and I'm like, I mean, that's like the big song on there. But let me tell you about something that's pretty cool. People are coming together, families, and they're putting together these dances and they're putting together these skits and they're doing all this fun stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
super duper awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
they're like a team. It is
Mm-hmm.
the coolest thing. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. And TikTok is actually, you know what, there's really not that much. You go on it and you see it's really not that much to it, but
Right.
man, it is amazing. There's some of the stuff
Mm-hmm.
is but most of the stuff I see it's like my favorite stuff, which is the father and son that are working together, and oh my god, like it's
I
just
love it.
hilarious because the dad's got this one of my favorites is this dad that's got this New York accent, the son that keeps like messing with him, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and he's like, "What do you
That's
mean?
good.
People want to hear me say coffee. What do you let me think? They say coffee. Why? Why?
Right.
What is the
Right.
what the fuck?" And I'm just like over there rolling anyway. I just had to bring that up because what I do
That's
know
awesome.
is that we are called to stay at home right now, and
Mm-hmm.
for goodness sake, you guys, creation is waiting to happen. Not
Right.
okay. I'm hoping y'all are over the Netflix binges and the whatever it is that y'all were doing, and now you're bored. Let's talk about now that you're
Mm-hmm.
bored. Boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, really, I'm pretty positive that there is a walking outside to curb your boredom is what you probably might want to consider doing.
Mm-hmm. Right. And this is a time where a lot of millionaires are going to be made. And I mean, again, let's make peace with money before it makes peace with us, right? Meaning, like, let's just make peace with it. I mean, if you can live an abundant life without guilt and shame, right? So if you want to expand, and of course, we're not going to need money eventually, but I don't have my angel wings. So if I jump off a building, I won't fly, right?
Right.
So we need things, right? So let's make peace with that. But I've noticed a lot of people are starting to get creative. People are making things, and then from those creations, other creations will start. I started my journey helping people at a shelter, filling out forms in Spanish, and then it led me to this. I didn't even know you guys were out here. Period. I thought I was just the only one. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go help people. Right when I was living in New York City a year ago, 2 years ago, right, a year ago,
Aw.
about yeah, a year ago, right. I just missed it by a year because Poseidon told me to get out of there.
Mhm.
So right, so now it's like I feel like there's a wonderful opportunity for people to start creating something. This is what you wanted. We're home, and now it's just stagnant energy. But then move the furniture, move the energy, throw the knickknacks out, anchor a new timeline presentation so that you don't have the everyday same bullshit kind of going to your living room and the knickknacks are looking at you like this for like 2 years, right? The same elephant. Just get rid of it. It's the knickknacks that I look at. I'm like, just get rid of that. Just throw it out. Let's get rid of things that don't serve us anymore because they hold vibrational frequency with the karmic patterns. So an item I will look at, and whenever I see that item, it will remind me of something about the item from where it came from or who gave it to me. So it just triggers the timeline to lower your vibration. Just get rid of it so there is not a trigger anymore, only knowing that you've made peace with why you have the trigger though. Otherwise we're just throwing the object out, so we're running away from our shadow. Like you were talking, a lot of light workers kind of are stuck in 12D with the Barbies rather than let's do shadow work here because we're avoiding the shadow and we're talking ships. I understand, but a lot of this is done to avoid the shadow because people have guilt. And so I don't really care about Archangel Michael because you haven't left your narcissist husband, right? Did you leave your narcissist husband yet? No? Okay. Okay, whatever. Yes, I'm here, but it don't impress me much yet. Whatever you say. Some people put themselves on a pedestal in those endeavors, right? And I've been those people.
Okay.
That's why
Wait,
I
wait, wait,
know.
wait. No, dude. Okay, now you're gonna go do it, aren't you? You're doing it. I can feel it coming. Let's talk to me about that ego on a pedestal plays.
Mm-hmm.
Even though
Mm-hmm.
everybody's right where they should be. But
Mm-hmm.
what you
Right.
talking about there, Willis?
Right. So, when we put people on a pedestal, we expect people to perform like Jesus did, right? It's like you're the teacher, but we don't mean to do that because we idolize people as it's almost like that's you in the future. So when you're in the future to make a mistake, that's a shadow that you haven't made peace with that person did. So therefore, of course, I'm gonna say you're full of demons and you're full of shadows. Well, I know I am. How enlightened. Have you seen your own shadow lately? Because have you seen your shadow? I mean, of course I have demons and I have a shadow. Of course I do. I have a yang and I have negative things about myself that we're all clearing. But because you saw it, right? So we put people on a pedestal, right? We put them on. So if I make a mistake, then oh my God, Francisco's not qualified to do this. Okay, but then when are we qualified to do this? When are we ready? Do you need to go to get brainwashed at a university again to get a diploma so you could go tell people how to live a healthy life? No, I'm concerned if you do, because that means that what you think in your brain is what's happening in your brain is just all illusionary rather than truth, right? And you know, I'm the almightier being than the other, template is great, but we could get lost in that. Now, I was talking about Rosemary earlier about that. What happened if I talk about my mighty? What's the issue with that? Well, it triggers the inferiority complex aspect within other people, and then they feel that I'm being better than you. But if you feel that I'm being better than you, you feel inferior than me, and simultaneously you do the superior to others first, because in order for you to feel inferior, you have to feel superior, because what's threatening your superiority complex, right? Someone else. But that's not my fault. So maybe the aspect that I have, which is confidence, maybe that's why you need more confidence within you, and therefore that's why you project that guilt to me, because that's the aspect you lack and not lack also. Because the aspect is there, it's just it needs to be healed, right? Right?
Holy shit!
Right. So when we feel inferior, it's because we feel superior, because that got threatened by something. So therefore, I'm doing that to others instead. So, and again, what you say is a reflection of who you are. So if you think I'm being better than you, you're the one saying that. So you are the one doing that to others, actually, right? Right. It's the law of opposite. Yeah, it's an important law.
Dude,
The law of, the law of opposite states in the absence in which you are not, which you are is not. So in order for me to go to the supermarket, I have to not go first so that I can find my way to the supermarket. In order for me to be very rich, I'm going to be very poor or unabundant to what I consider, right? Because of the beliefs, like we said, so that I find my way to abundance, right? If I want to be in love with someone, I'm going to be shown what love does not look like, which is probably a lot of failed relationships, so that I find, or I attract, in fact, I attract the true person that I'm supposed to be with, right? But these people looking for love is like catching a fart in a plastic bag. I mean, it just never happens, right? Let me know when you do. Close the bag.
Catching a fart in a plastic bag.
Right.
Holy hell.
It's like, where is it? It's in the air too, right?
Okay, so rather than try to catch a fart in a plastic bag, what I would highly encourage is, so what I love is, so you talked a lot about if we compare, if I'm in comparison, okay, and I'm looking at that other person and I'm comparing what they're doing, because I have feelings of lack, unworthiness, and I lack self-confidence. Period. Because, and first off, if I was confident, I wouldn't have time to be looking at what Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jane were doing. Period.
Right.
So our self-confidence is absolutely on point. In fact, it's so big right now. I'm trying to find my notes from earlier, because I swear to you, this is what the notes I was just taking were on. The other thing that I love is that there's this thing called the 12 adjustments that's from Love Coach Academy. And I'll never forget this when I got this a few years ago. It is taking and going from the reptilian side of our brain, the judgment, the blame, the shame, the criticism, and all of those things, and shifting to this space of curiosity. What's real for me? What's real for the other person? Shifting to compersion. That's being in celebration of another human being's accomplishments, achievements, and where that they're at, and truly loving into that they succeeded within their space, and not looking at it like, well, look what they're doing, and then nitpicking them apart like they're doing it wrong.
Right.
Like, you're not doing that right, because if I was doing that, I'd be doing this. It's like, well, maybe that's because maybe if I were doing it, is that the key?
Right. If you were doing it, you would do it like that. Well, then show us how you do it, and then
get off your fucking ass and do it, right?
Go do a live video and show us how enlightened you are. But see, you don't have the balls So maybe people have no courage to speak the truth, but they say they're not afraid. Well, the people that are saying they're not afraid are the ones that are afraid because it's flexing muscle, because they have to say it to believe it, so others believe it too. The people that are maybe a little sensitive and they're kind of a little afraid and they're saying maybe I'm afraid, because it's not that I'm afraid, it's like I'm feeling, then those are the people that are really not afraid because they have the balls and the courage to admit it. Right?
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
right?
I'm going to say yes, because I'm going to, yes, I
Mhm.
think you're right. I'm curious. I'm curious. We've got a great audience rolling right now. You
Yes.
guys, you're going to tell me you listened to all this juicy, yummy, explosive. I told you we were going to dynamite blow some shit up tonight.
I
So
love it.
come on. Give us a question, give us a rebuttal, give us your own
Yeah.
real thoughts. I care about what you think. I care about what you think. What is your perspective, audience? Type it in. Let me see
Love it.
some input. Hey, Keith. Hey, bud.
Hey,
Thank you
Keith, how
so
are
much.
you?
Well, you know what's
Awesome.
kind of interesting is that I'm not getting all. I have my phone up, thank goodness, because I'm not seeming to see all of the
All the
comments.
comments?
Yeah, but that's okay. I have my phone up. And
Yeah,
hi, Keith. I love
on my
you.
phone. Awesome.
I love you, bud. Hey,
Yep.
Rosemary.
Hi, Rosie. Well, she's next to me there. There she is.
This
Love
is
it.
awesome. Shar says it's always reflective right here. Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, right. Right. It's a mirror image. And, I've been triggered a lot this year. This is necessary, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the key to the trigger, what saves us is our boundaries. But we don't trust that if our boundaries work. So let's trust that our boundaries are strong enough, because then nobody can hurt you because you have boundaries. And if your boundaries are strong, meaning that I believe that my boundaries are real based on my truth, based on my aspects, I am safe, right? But if you don't believe you're safe, and if you're safe sometimes, you leave that one probability timeline for you not to be safe, because your aura then is cracked, and then you let things in your aura feel. The root chakra says, I am safe, not I am safe, I think, right? Or sometimes, or I pretend to be safe, right? Either you're safe or you're not. That's like saying, I'm going to have a little sex. No. Either you have sex or you don't have sex, period. So don't give me this in between thing.
Well, it's not all the way in, so that didn't count.
I love that. Right, it's like the head. There's no mushrooms. I'm just playing. I'm just
Oh my
kidding.
God. Ooh. He did. He
I
did.
love
He went there. I just tell you,
it.
that was brilliant, man. And brilliant. Uh, here's some key words about self-esteem. In finding our own voice, embrace, reclaim,
Mm.
reclaim,
Oh, I like that. Reclaim. Thank you. Yeah.
reclaim. In fact, you know what? That's
Mm.
like I wrote that down just a little while ago.
Mm.
Reclaim. Expand on
Mm-hmm.
that. Feel that.
I reclaim. It's like I'm reclaiming my being through the experiences, right? And past life experiences. And I'm reclaiming my sovereignty. I'm reclaiming my harmony, my sense of peace, right? Because I think we were tormented with so much of this distorted belief systems that is their fault, and it's not their fault. It's both. Because again, nobody's meaning to harm us and harming us also, right? The same way you harmed someone in the past, but you didn't mean to. Well, the same thing is
Right.
happening at a bigger structure, right? So yeah, of course, reclaim your safe space, and let's reclaim who you are before you started having kids or this and that. These are soul fragments retrievals, right? That we're doing. But thank you. I love that
Exactly.
reclaim. I love that. Yeah, very healing.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those words that I think are going to become very prominent.
Hmm.
Triumphant. I see.
Hmm.
I don't see recovery being a word anymore.
Right, right. See, exactly. Like the word
Oh,
respect.
that's it. Holy sneakers. Reclaim is the new recovery.
Reclaim is the new recovery, right? Because from the recovery, we can reclaim. And it's like the word respect too, right? And that might sound
Mm.
crazy, because in heaven, no one's disrespecting anyone. So there's no need to respect anything, because there is no disrespect you. sorry, I didn't recognize your ego. When people get disrespected, they disrespect themselves based on someone, not manners. Manners is fear. Yeah, I have to have manners, otherwise I'm afraid, right? It's a fear-based thing, because otherwise I'm not accepted or I'm being rude or disrespectful. Like the whole thing with the governor of New York today on the news. If you don't wear a mask, you're disrespectful. Of course I'm disrespectful because you're the victim, right? I mean, can we get it together here? Like, what do you mean this? So of course now that's a program that everyone's going to walk around shaming people for not wearing masks. Well, great, more duality, but we need it. We need to go to hell first before we go to heaven.
Yep. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I'm just, and actually, so what the hell's wrong with hell?
With who?
There's nothing wrong with hell. There's
Oh
nothing
no,
wrong.
there's nothing wrong with hell.
Oh,
No.
so I've been in some place. Without your dark, you wouldn't know your spark, and I've sat in some
Right.
spaces. As a matter of fact, I
Right.
still get thoughts sometimes that aren't exactly Miss Nicety nice, and you would think, oh my God, there goes
Hmm.
GVibe Miss Gratitude. If somebody was inside my brain at that very second, oh my God, they probably would have hung me in the olden days.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
there's in our humanness, like, here's the difference though. We allow ourselves to go there. We allow ourselves to be sad, be angry, be whatever. But it's
Hmm.
how that we flip the switch. Are we
Hmm.
gonna
Hmm.
respond? Are we gonna do that, or are we gonna do the react? Which one are you gonna opt for? And
Yeah.
if you could opt for the response factor, you're gonna
Hmm.
come out of that space a lot faster, and then you can step into your gratitude point, your appreciation. And here's another one that came up today. Our humility and our
Hmm.
humbleness to step into our
Hmm.
grace, but comes from the shaming and the humiliation to step
Hmm.
into the humility and our
Hmm.
grace, to be in
Hmm.
full grace. So I heard it say that the grace that is the God source spark within us is that
Hmm.
space of grace. All of it
Right.
achieved and all of it achieved by these processes and things that we're going through. So
Right.
everything that came up tonight was so important. It's important
Hmm.
because to help us be the best version of ourselves we can be, seriously
Right.
time to start looking at the truth of some things that maybe don't feel great, to look at the truth of that dark might be part of you, except as soon as you accept it, love it, it's not that anymore. Have you
Right.
noticed
Right.
that?
And right. And it's when people point it out, it's like you can't believe it because you don't want to admit that about yourself in front of a stranger, in front of someone else. Well, that's the ego, because there's no shame in doing that, right? Of course, we're all trying to be better than the other or be this and that, and we don't even mean
Mm,
to. But the humility part kicks in then. If like a total stranger asks you, tells you that, you don't want to say, you don't want to admit it. But if God whisper it before you go to bed, you take it in all the way. Excuse me? Then this is bias. I mean, what you want God to give you a private message? The universe is every person is God in the universe. So if you get somebody from somebody, maybe you should pay attention and stop denying that, right? Because then it's bias. Oh, if it's that person, it's not true. But if it's God, of course it is. Well, that's bias. And then when we're going back to the beginning, no, we're all here. Even if a total stranger, look, the most people that I don't like me, they probably said some truth to me that I've integrated, and just because it's them doesn't mean it's not true. It's probably exactly what they're saying is true because there's a trigger. So we need to pay attention to those gifts, right? And
totally.
gratitude is all things. It's like you said the other day on your show, gratitude is a portal to more abundance. And when you said that, I was like, whoa, wow, it's a portal. I'm like, I love this. It's a portal to more gratitude. And there's nothing missing really. But the ego is the victim, so everything is missing always, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. Gratitude is alchemy. It is the secret
Right.
sauce, and there is no secret. Everybody says, "Well, it's bypassing." No, it's a state of
No.
being. And the fact
Right.
of the matter is that if you really do your research, then you're going to find out that the gratitude actually alters the neural pathways within our brain. When we start
Mm-hmm.
purposely, intentionally looking for what is good in our life, we actually are creating neural pathways in our brain to live our best life, to live that
Right.
abundant life, to be that. the whole idea of talking about all of this is to really, what my wish is for myself and for every other human being is that you really take a cold, hard look in the mirror and
Hmm.
really, really love who you see and accept
Hmm.
all those parts of you that you think suck, because it's okay if they do.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yep.
That's it, right? It's like it's okay that they suck. It's so supposed to smell. It's supposed to smell. Let's just clean it. It's no guilt and shame. I mean, I bring it to the most humility. I mean, I'm like,
I
it's like
love
the other
you.
day. It's like, let's bring it to the smell. Let's bring it to whatever. Because that is personal and it has to be personal. It has to hit you. Because if it's too decorated, then it's not accepted, right? No, come on. It's okay if it smells. Just clean it. Done. And we can all clean it. Everyone stop blaming for dirty socks the other guy has. Start cleaning your own mess and we can get out of here. It's just that simple. But we're in the blame shifting timelines with the news and everyone blaming. So everyone's trying to find somebody responsible for something that everyone is responsible for. So it's again illusion. Catch air in a bag. It just won't work. It won't work.
Absolutely straight up. Look at all
Hmm.
these wonderful comments, man. Isn't this
I love
great?
it. Hey
So,
Keith, how are you? Yeah, I love you.
what about a an offering that you could give the audience so that they could work with you privately? Now, I've kept up on the screen, floating across
Hmm.
all night, and just in case you guys don't see it, I'm going to call your attention to it. Is
Hmm.
Francisco's website? It's right here, kindlovingspiritual.com. This is where you can reach him to book a session. And can you give him a little bit of insight about what that looks like?
Yeah, so when you book with me, guys, I have this $50 special going on right now because of times of needs. My fee is $70, but we need people need right when we need to help. So you when we're talking the session, I usually yield to you to talk about anything that's concerning in your mind, and then we go into a planetary reading. I do a 27 card spread where we like to talk about the collective readings with Mercury retrograde. But where do you stand with Mercury retrograde personally? Where do you stand with Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, Mars, Chiron, which is child trauma? Where do you stand personally with the councils of the Elohims? And then I pull a tarot card for each Elohim to see where you are. And then I pull an archangel card to see which archangel is helping you with that aspect or the ascended master, that whatever resonates. But this is a good kind of review to really see where we are. And then the combined energy of the reading. It's a 27 card spread and we get a lot of details. And it's just basically why are you coming to me, right? I mean, it's like people, I feel like sometimes I'm like, how can I help you? I don't know. Okay, well, you made an appointment. Let's talk about why, and right? And it's like, okay, let's talk about your child trauma. Let's talk about things, right? So I really take you back to your childhood and let's make sure that there is no blame shifting or none of that, and then we go into the present moment to the marriage, because everything comes from childhood. All of our decisions, all of our perspectives really come from those templates, but those templates sometimes are in distortion. So a new presentation needs to be given and then anchored by you, right? So I really kind of just reset you a little bit, and I just tell you this is the issue, and it's up to you to resolve it, right? So I also do Reiki healings, and I'm starting psychic surgery now because I'm getting my crystal tools now, and so they want me to start psychic surgery. My spirit guides, right? So, and then we're doing that, and then of course my Reiki and everything. So, yeah, you could check out the website kindlovingspiritual.com and my new page on Facebook. We're expanding, but with everything that's happening right now, it's kind of like pause. I am looking at an Egypt trip 2020, maybe 2021, maybe we'll have to see, where I want to take people to Egypt so that we can activate, right? I've been there, and so I could just do it again. I love it there.
You've been to Egypt?
Oh yeah, I've been to Egypt, Turkey, Italy. I've been to England. I've been to Greece. I've been to the Oracle of Delft. I've been all over the world. I've been taking imprints all my life. So I'm just, and I've worked in the airline industry, so I know what it takes. I know what it takes to take people abroad. So it's like let's just go. I'm ready to travel, but eh, save money. It's a good thing. Virus
Well, yeah.
package too.
the
The virus package.
the virus package, baby. It's the
Right,
virus
right.
package.
I need to check. We need that virus check first.
Oh man. Hey, you guys, that's a really killer deal. You really seriously need to check this out. There's the website right there. Okay. I'm going to show everybody. I made something I'm really proud of, and I am launching my trygratitude.com. We were talking about gratitude. Well, it's actually, I've had it out there, but you guys, look what I made. I'm going to show you. Wake up. Smell the essence of change in the air. Wake up. Today is the day. Wake up. This moment is your moment. Use your senses. Feel it in your gut. Look around you. In every corner, there is an opportunity. Infinite possibilities. The time is now. It has come. To try something different. To expand into the person you have always wanted to be. Make a decision that will increase your level of bliss. Learn to see life through a lens of appreciation. Same life, new perspective. New attitude equals full abundance. The key is gratitude. The attitude is lovitude. Empower your life. Ignite your spark. Be authentically you. How, you ask? Simple. Practice. Trygratitude.com.
I
I made
love
that.
that.
Isn't that cute?
I love it. That's so beautiful. You have such a great voice. Jesus, you could have been a flight attendant.
Hello. Okay.
I love it.
Oh my.
I love it.
Oh Lord. Your seatbelt with the seatbelt sign. wait.
Right.
Fasten the
Right.
seatbelt
Wait, what?
sign. Blah, blah, blah. Our
Yeah.
captain has
Well,
asked.
it's like let me right. It's like let me put the mask on me before I could help you because if I can't breathe, I can't help you, right? That's where that comes from. So help yourself first before you help others.
Absolutely, absolutely. And check this out. Shar says he'll go. She's like, I'll go with you to Egypt.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah.
So what
I'm
I'd like
trying
to
to.
know, I'd like anybody, if you're watching the replay or if you're live on right now, do me a favor. Type Francisco's name and tag him in this. If you can't tag him, just type his name and say, yes, I want to go to Egypt. Let him
I
know
love
so
it.
you can get on the waiting list for this because
Hmm.
it's coming up. And he's not going to know that you're interested unless that you let us
Hmm.
know. It's as simple as
Right.
that. And for everybody, uh, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. every day is Compassionate Talk presented by Love Coach Academy. And this is where that you can get empathy if you're going through a really hard space and you need to really just get somewhere where you can talk it out and get it out of your system. And also you'll be provided with some tools to help you along the way. Please, $50 for Francisco. He's you know he's hooching himself out right now. Y'all, he's being a hoochie with those prices. You guys are getting
Right.
pandemic prices. Seriously, $50,
Right.
dude, for all that.
It's an hour. It's an hour, and we get a lot done, right? So, and then and it's not about making money, but it's also about that. It's about both things, giving and receiving, of course. I have people come to me like 3 times in a week, and I'm like, no, I'll give you the next session is on me, come on, balance, right? It's not about but it's just about you accountability show up for the session because, I've been working back to back 3 months full, right? And I'm taking all next week off. And then I'm going back at it because I know the demand is there. So I just got to balance my energy well, right? And another thing I'm doing, guys, on Sundays, next Sunday, because today we had this and I screwed up, right? Next Sunday, we have the attachments and their polarity, Zoom room, recovery setting kind of group. So if you have attachments, like if he hasn't texted me, he must not love me, too, I need to hit the pipe, come join. Check
Oh,
out
I
my
love this.
pages. You know what I
You
mean?
know what? I'm loving that you're doing this. As a matter of fact,
Hmm.
why don't you guys do that? And then maybe you could tune in. I'm going to have Recovery View Live for the very first
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And I'm bringing addiction specialists on. Now, these are people that
Nice.
own treatment centers, but it's conscious recovery. So it's TJ Woodward with Josie
Hmm.
Herndon. And then later on this week, Drama to Dharma is going to be starting on Thursday.
Oh wow, that sounds
Dra-
fun. Drama to drama, yeah, drama to
dra-
drama. I love it. Yeah, that makes sense. I love.
Drama to
You come
Dharma.
up with the best titles. I love it. Yep.
So, yep, it's coming. And oh my God, you're already, listen to this. So Karen Bittner, hi Karen. She says she wants to go to Egypt.
Egypt. Yeah, I want to.
Uh-huh.
I think after this whole thing, everyone's ready to travel. So it's just the thing is like, when does the government tell you you're not afraid, right? I mean, right, and that's like this is the control system, right? But we're starting to see this stuff. So by the end of the year, I think we're gonna have a better understanding of what the timeline next year looks like.
Hmm.
But I knew this year was heart chakra expansion, and here we are, right? 2020 is acceleration through the Kabbalah tree of life, right? And so yeah,
Yeah.
2020 Egypt something, 2021 we'll see.
I love that. Let's take a check real quick, and then we'll go ahead and come to a close. For Dana Nickerson says, absolutely everything comes from within ourselves. That is the only way we can freely give something to anyone is by having it fully and active within ourselves.
Right, right, exactly. And the one thing is like if we can't receive love, we can't give love. But that's one of the things that I've healed in the last 3 months. Literally, is the fact that I allowed to receive love. So whenever people got too lovey with me, I pushed them away.
Yeah,
So it's very important to remember that we need to allow to receive love so we could give love, right? And there's a lot of triggers there with that, right? But we got to go with it.
totally. Actually, yeah, there are, and I've been guilty of that same thing. Like, if somebody's giving me too much love, then it's like, you're getting a
Yeah,
little.
it's too smushy, smushy, too cute, right?
Well, when you're
Because
taking care of yourself, all because you took care of yourself, and so we have
mhm,
to learn this aspect. We grew up in survival mode, taking care
mhm,
of ourselves.
right,
And when I say
right,
survival mode, that doesn't mean that I came from a poor family. I'm going to make something clear. My parents were
mhm,
right there; they were attentive, but I survival mode emotionally is where that was
mhm,
at. Just so that everybody gets what I'm saying. Just
right.
be we could have an outside Ozzie and Harriet looking family when we were growing up, but you grew up emotionally struggling and surviving. Wonder how the hell could this happen? Or you could
Hmm.
have grown up in a family with hiding a lot of shit under the carpet.
Right,
It doesn't
right.
does it really matter though where you grew up at this point? Or does it really matter more that your perspective on how that you view that? Because your story, and this is another thing that came up, your story is your biology, your story is what makes you up. So if you are sick, you're making yourself sick because your
Right.
story is making you sick. And
Mhm.
attached to victimhood, which we've already touched, and I would love you to come back, Francisco, and talk about a deeper dive into victim mentality and what that looks like.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say thank you to Debs and to and to Tim Flattery and Cindy Eldridge. Oh my God, look at all you guys. I'm Shar. I love seeing you. I love seeing all your faces. For those that are up on here, it says Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but I love you. Christina, thank you. All Alexis, everybody who showed up tonight. Um, Everything that we have said tonight, at least I don't know about you, but pretty sure mine was from a space of love, and I'm almost 1,000% sure, Francisco, out of love, right?
Right. Out of love and innocence, right? It's innocent. It's so let's just heal that and let's make peace with this because it starts within so that we can experience it without, right?
You got that. And with that, y'all, you have a rockin' spark your G vibe Sunday night. Let this beautiful, vibrant energy carry us off into tomorrow. And when you wake up in the morning, you know what? Actually, I'm getting called right now by Spirit to ask you to do a 1 minute meditation to close out with. Is that okay with you?
Sure. Sure,
Mhm.
sure, sure. All right, guys. So what I want us to do is we're gonna violet fire our being. Violet fire 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. All right. Deep breath. All right. So I am taking now your heart chakra and I'm taking all the lower chakras and I'm grounding you to the earth star now. Right. So we're grounding to the earth star, everything in your aura and your auric field, anything in your being is being sucked down through your root chakra back to the magma of earth to transmute. All right, so I'm taking your heart chakra, throat, crown, and third eye to the central sun magnet now. Connected to source. And now, as we take a deep breath from the central sun, we are going to breathe white light through to our heart, simultaneously being connected to the earth star. Expand your aura from the heart out, like expanding a balloon. 1, 2, north and south. Aura expanded. Now we're gonna do more violet fire, and now we're gonna do a golden light from the sun. Now all of your blood turns to gold now. All of your blood turned to gold. It's not red. And now every organ, lung, everything in your body is a gold organ. And that is healing your cellular atomic structure. Dear cells, I ask you to remember original programming back to the God creation source. Amen. Amen.
Phew. Anybody else out there hot? I'm sweating. I seriously am like, it is not hot right now. Okay, it is cold.
And it's like we got steamy.
Ooh, thank you.
No problem, honey. Thank you for having me. It was.
Thank you for being here. Friedena, we'll need to approach that comment after, because we've been on an hour and a half. We definitely got to roll. So I love that you sent such a great message, and we'll definitely get to it. Love you guys. Peace.
Signing out. Bye, guys.